New weapons, please, please, please. At least one new weapon, please, please, just one. Today I want to talk about some expectations that I have personally for the next Monster Hunter game. Very, very far away from Ponytown, I know, but I love Monster Hunter too, and that's what I want to talk about today. Especially since, we're probably going to learn a little bit more about the next Monster Hunter game in the coming weeks and stuff, so I figured I'd just get this out of the way, get my expectations and what I think might actually happen in that game out the way, so that when we do learn more information, I can either be very close to being correct or and be happy about it. Yeah, just be happy about being so close to being correct or spot on, or be very, very far off and be very disappointed. It's going to be fun either way, so I just want to talk about that. I made a community post here on the Monster Hunter subreddit, and a lot of people just were saying the most basic stuff, like, I bet there's going to be a Rathalos and Rathian, I bet there's going to be monsters and hunting them. And then there was a couple of other ones, like this person here, who actually gave some pretty realistic expectations, such as Palamutes returning, and that was actually on my list as well. Palamutes returning. I definitely think some form of Palamute will return in the next Monster Hunter, how we had in Rise. Again, a little dog or something. I feel like that's probably going to end up becoming a reoccurring thing. We probably won't lose Palamutes anytime soon. Something akin to Wirebugs returning / movement options from Rise to stay. I think there would definitely be some form of those staying, but I also, in my own personal list, listed off some new styles of combat. For example, they could bring underwater combat back, and that is entirely possible. There's been plenty of people that have talked about it before in the past. Hey, I wish underwater combat came back, or people like, oh, how was underwater combat? All these different discussions around it. Makes me feel like maybe the developers are seeing people talk about it enough and they decide to add it or something. I don't know for sure if it will happen. It's a little bit of a guess, really, just a huge shot in the dark that something like underwater combat might return. But I also do definitely expect some kind of new gimmick with the combat, whether it be a new style of mounting on a monster, since we've gotten different ways of mounting on them throughout the past couple of entries. There's probably going to be a totally new way to mount them again. But there could be some other weird combat thing. Maybe there's some kind of new aerial style of combat or something where you're not necessarily flying, but maybe you can do some stuff in the sky a little bit more. There could also be something more akin to not Palamutes, but Palicos digging. You know how it is in Monster Hunter games. Once you get so far away from your Palico, they just start digging in the ground, and boop, they pop up right next to you. Well, who's to say that the hunters don't somehow learn this skill and use it or something? And that could be a gimmick that they use in the next Monster Hunter game. So something like that, or ultimately the new hunting gimmick thing could just be a return to the Palico mode, where you get to be a Palico and hunt monsters and collect materials and things like that. That was a fun mode in Generations Ultimate. I definitely hope that returns. I don't necessarily expect it to return, though. This user also mentioned modern console release to show off the graphics. I want to talk about that too, because in my notes as well, I listed off that the Switch probably won't have the next Monster Hunter game. That's my expectation, at least. My guess, my theory, is that the Nintendo Switch would not be powerful enough to run the next Monster Hunter game, and so they will instead release it for things like PC and the new PlayStation, the PlayStation 5, of course, the new Xbox. I forget what it's called. The Xbox Series X, I think, is where we're at right now. They changed the names in weird ways over there with Xbox, but it's probably going to be on those kinds of consoles and systems, as well as a Switch 2 that is highly leaked and highly rumored is supposed to come out sometime next year as well. So potentially it'll release side by side with the console, but it will probably be something like, oh, it's coming to Switch later or something, right? And my next notes here are that I think that there will be some kind of new hub gimmick, some kind of thing similar to how we had in World, where if you were in the Gathering Hub, you could arm wrestle other players and stuff like that. I think something like that might return. Definitely some kind of new gimmick with it, though. Something that either we haven't seen before or we have seen before, and it's just done slightly different, and it's just overall just a very nice hub. I liked how we had it in Sunbreak. I'm expecting a hub very similar to that, where it's open, everything is there. You don't have to kind of hunt stuff down. You don't have to go to a bunch of different random regions and stuff. It's probably just very open. Now, the most likely thing that I'm almost certain, I'm almost 100% positive this will happen in the next Monster Hunter game, it will have some kind of connection to Monster Hunter Now. the new mobile game that's supposed to be coming out pretty soon. I think there's going to be some kind of special event either in Monster Hunter Now or in the base Monster Hunter game, you know, the new one that's supposed to come out eventually, where you can have both. If you have both, you get to unlock some kind of special armor or something like that. There's going to be some special tie-in between the two games. They're definitely not going to miss that opportunity to be like, oh, download Monster Hunter Now and you get this cool armor in the Monster Hunter 6 or whatever they call it, right? I think definitely you'll have some kind of connection to it. What that connection will be is hard to say, because it could be just, oh, you get a special armor if you have both games or something. And they could easily do it where, like, in the game itself, Monster Hunter 6 or whatever you want to call it, they have it to where you can get a code from, you know, Monster Hunter Now and punch it in, and then there you go. That's how you get your special gift or something. So they could do it like that, and they could do it in the opposite, where if you have the new game, Monster Hunter Now is like, well, give us a code that game gives you, and we'll give you special armor in Monster Hunter Now, and that'll be a cool thing. There's definitely going to be some kind of connection like that. It could be simple as just that. It could be something where they tie them in a little bit differently, where they reference it a couple of different times or something. There's definitely some kind of connection that's going to be had here. I don't see them just skipping that opportunity, but I've been wrong before. And that's basically it. That's basically all I have for my notes. A lot of other stuff here, like people want to see the return of some sick monsters, like the Narajala, the Malfistio, and the Zamtrios and stuff. I'd love to see Zamtrios and Malfistio come back, that kind of stuff. Switch skills and hunter arts are a staple in the series, so people expect that to happen as well. This person just specifically wanted them, but you can see there that it's something people want and expect. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think one thing that we can all agree on is that spirit birds cannot return. There's no way. People didn't like them, and hopefully they don't make them return for the next game. But other than that, those are my expectations and the things that I think might end up coming back to the game, things that I think might just appear for the first time in the game, all that kind of jazz. So let me know in the comments below what you expect to see in the next Monster Hunter game if you are a Monster Hunter fan. If you're not a Monster Hunter fan, I definitely recommend seeing a couple of my other videos about Monster Hunter and stuff like that, and hopefully those will get you into the series a little bit more, because we did a couple of things here on the channel with it, and it's a great way to kind of just ease yourself in it, as well as just seeing other people's videos on Monster Hunter and stuff, because it's a very fun game. I highly recommend it to all of you. But for now, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all of those wonderful things like that, because when you do wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.